Welcome to our resume writing tips session. This session is designed predominantly for undergraduate students who are fairly new to resume writing, especially at the college level. And this session is going to provide you with a very brief overview with some highlights, but just know that some additional resources are available in your Handshake account under the resources section. The first section on your resume will be your contact information right up at the very top. And you'll see how to list your contact information here. And then after that, you'll list what we call a summary or a highlights of qualifications section, whatever you prefer to call it. And given that you're likely to have zero to minimal experience in your field at this point, you want to ask yourself what strengths you do have and then highlight those in this section here. Now, there are a lot of different ways you can format this section. What you see here, this is just one way to format that section. So feel free to play around with the layout of that. The next section on the resume will be your education section. And we start with our highest degree on the top, even if you haven't completed the degree yet. So you'll see how we put an expected month and year of graduation. You'll list your bachelor's degree up there. Now, as you notice, we call it a bachelor's degree, so it's very tempting to put an S on the end of the word bachelor there. But when you write out your degree, most of our degrees, not all of them, but most of our degrees at Lewis University are either called a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts. So make sure that when you list your degree on your resume that you have not included an S on the end of the word bachelor. You will see that Lewis University is listed underneath there. You will not include a full mailing address for Lewis, just the name of our school, the city, and the state. And then you'll do that for your jobs as well. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see that you'll need to include an expected month and year of graduation. This helps your employer to see about how far along in your program you are, and that gives them some idea of when you'll have your degree in hand. And underneath that, if your GPA is a 3.0 or higher, it's a good idea to include it on the resume and indicate that it's out of a 4.0 scale, because some universities use a 5.0 scale. Now, for those of you that attended a junior college, you will include that junior college on here so long as you completed your degree, okay? And it will be listed underneath your bachelor's degree, following the same format as the bachelor's degree. And make sure you notice that there is no high school information listed on a college level resume. The next section is going to include an internship or your work experience or both. So by the time you are ready to start working on this resume, when you're listening to this now, if you have already completed your internship or you're in it right now, it's a good idea to make a separate section for that on your resume. And keep in mind, some students in certain majors use a different terminology. So they may not call it an internship per se, maybe called a field experience or a clinical experience, and there are several others too. You may need to modify the title of that section depending upon what your major is. And then the next section underneath that will be your work experience section. And we list jobs in reverse chronological order. So start with any present jobs that you hold, list those first, and then we work our way back down to the oldest job. And we do not include jobs that you held in high school. So once you come to college, employers want to see what you've been doing since you've graduated from high school. So include any jobs listed there. If you have worked as a student worker on campus, be sure to indicate that as well. And then underneath your bullets, and remember, I should say too, employers love to see bullets on the resume. They do not want to read long paragraphs underneath all your jobs. So keep it succinct, but yet you need to be descriptive enough so they have some idea of what you've done. And they can see that you haven't graduated yet, or you're just getting ready to graduate. So they're not expecting you to be coming in with 10 years of relevant professional experience on here. So you're going to list any of the jobs you've held while you were a student and ask yourself, what did I do with these jobs that demonstrated some level of responsibility, or things that required a higher level of skill? And those are the things you want to include in there. So, and you do not need to include the same number of bullets for all of your jobs. Some of your bullets may include a lot of, some of your jobs may include a lot of bullets, and some of your jobs may only have 2 bullets. So it's okay to vary that depending upon the job. The next sections are optional, so not all of you will have these. If you have earned any kind of an honor or an award while you were in college, that could be at the junior college level or here at Lewis, you will include those in this section. So maybe you were on the dean's list, or you got an athletic scholarship or an academic scholarship. Maybe you won some kind of an athletic award, or maybe it was an award that you won at your workplace, Employee of the Month, or a customer service award. Those are the types of things you can include in your honors and awards section. If you have not earned any honors and awards, you will not make a heading for this section. The next section would be called Leadership Activities and Volunteer Experience. If you have not held a leadership role, you will not use that word in this heading. And also, if you've not served as a volunteer, then you wouldn't use that word in the heading. So just feel free to modify the heading to reflect what it is that you are going to be putting in this section. So these headings are not set in stone. If you have taken on any kind of an officer role or a leadership role, that's a really great thing for your prospective employer to see. So you want to include that, again, include that word in the heading, and you're also going to list underneath the organization that you served in that leadership role in, and list what your officer role was called. So in this example, you'll see vice president, treasurer. For some of you, it might have been a captain or a co-captain or public relations chair. If you participated in any activities on campus or in your community at home, you will list those activities here and put what they were, and then remember to include the time span that you were involved in those. And those would include any volunteer work that you've completed as well. The final section of the resume is called Languages and Computer Skills. And obviously, if you are not fluent or semi-fluent in a language, we don't put the word languages in the heading. So again, you may need to modify this heading to just say computer skills. With languages, we typically use 2 words. One is either semi-fluent or fluent. So semi-fluent means you're able to get your message across, but your grammar might not be perfect. Fluent means you can speak it as a native. And so if you are fluent in another language, and keep in mind that your prospective employer might start interviewing you in that language. So do not list that you are fluent in a language if you truly are not fluent in the language. Then the next part of this section will include your computer skills. And that's where you're going to list your basic computer skills, your Google Docs, your Microsoft Word, Excel, those types of products. And then also you can include your social media that may or may not apply to some of you depending on what profession you're going into. We usually use 2 terms when we describe our computer skills. Proficient means you know it really well, and then familiar with means you have played around in it, but you're not necessarily ready to hit the ground running. And in this section, make sure you also include any skills that are unique to your profession. That might include any special software that was unique to your field. And there are some other sections that I did not mention here that may pertain to you. That may be flight hours, laboratory skills, special licenses or certifications. Maybe there were projects that you did as a part of your degree program, military history. Some of our science majors have research experience and presentations. So ask yourself, is there anything on this, anything else that I have to add that might not have been listed here? And if so, just simply make a new heading for that. Last, I just wanted to invite you to reach out to our office if you do want one-on-one assistance. Our contact information is listed at the bottom here, and you're also welcome to schedule an appointment with us through your Handshake account.